Hello YouTube. It's been a while since we did a game stream. And I thought tonight we'd review Genshin Impact while we go along and play it. If you've been following along on Twitter, you might know some of my thoughts about the game already, but I figured let's do something different. Let's go ahead, let's give it a formal review, let's do it while playing, because I think that's gonna maybe get some of the points across a little bit more easily. First things first, the audio for this is going to be in Japanese. And the reason for that was I'm not a person that usually outright dislikes dubs. The English dub for this is freaking terrible. Absolutely terrible. Yes, it's a free-to-play. I get that. There's a budget associated with that when you go free to play. But, wow. I haven't heard lines as rushed and as bad as there are in this game since I played my first JRPG on a Wii. And that's the original Wii. Not the Wii U, the first Wii. And that was Arc Rise Fantasia. That was bad. This is bad too. Mainly, my concerns with that are regarding one of the main characters. You have this little assistant thing called Paimon. Think of Paimon as 2020's version of Navi, but with voiced lines that make her even more annoying. And in the English, they were just so rushed in parts that it was like, okay, I cannot listen to this anymore if this is going to be a main character in the game. So it switched to Japanese. The rest of the audio is in English. We got subtitles for that. It's way more bearable that way. That being said, you do have the options of English, Japanese, Korean, and Chinese for voiceovers, and I think in-game text is about the same. So, as I mentioned, this is free to play, and part of the reason for that is this is what's called a gacha game. This apparently originally was out on mobile. I never played it on mobile, so I don't know how it is on there. But playing it on console, if they did almost a one-to-one port from mobile to console, holy shit, this looks amazing for a mobile game. It's not super ultra high def, 4K HDR graphics, anything like that. But for mobile, this would be seriously impressive. I've heard some jokes about this game, primarily from Koricon, which I am a staff member of, that the unofficial title of this is Legend of Anime Breath of the Waifu. Now, I've never played The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, but from what I know from that game, I can see why you might call this that. I don't know what they said, because that's the one thing is the idle chatter they don't have the English subtitles for, but anywho, let's dive right into this. Again, the audio's in Japanese because I just could not stand the English dub. It got so unbelievably annoying. Having switched the Japanese audio, I think I get why they've done what they've done with the English audio of Paimon. I think they kind of tried to emulate that. It's, the high-pitched, very cutesy anime sort of voice style that isn't for everyone. But yeah, it's better in Japanese. So, first things first, let's go ahead, let's get our daily bonuses here. As I mentioned, this is what's considered a gacha game, which we'll get into a little bit later, but essentially gacha comes from the Japanese concept of gachapon, which are these little figure capsule toy things that you'd find out on the streets in Japan. You put like a 500 yen coin in there, out pops a random, figure, various other things. Some of them have become more creative over the years. the reason this is called that is actually, let's go ahead and let's do this. So this is what's called Wish. And this is where you have the premium currency. And the premium currency costs actual money, as you might have guessed. And essentially what you're doing is you're spending real money to buy these virtual currencies, for virtual credit. And I should point out there's apparently two different ones. If you look at the bottom left corner there, you see kind of this 15 blue currency thing. If I switch over, okay, now we've got kind of this rainbow one. I think they cost the same. I don't know. I haven't delved that much into it, because for free to play, you get a lot of this out of this without having to pay, at least so far as I've gone with this. I'm not at the very, very, very beginning of the game. I'm slightly past sort of like the first prologue, but the idea of this being a gacha game is you have these events here, and you spend the premium currency on basically a random chance to either get a character or various weapons. Premium characters, premium weapons, etc. So you could do that, or you can just simply play the game as you go, because some of that premium currency you get just by completing events and quests. Leveling up in this game is very interesting because you have your actual character levels, and as soon as this finishes loading, I'll show you what that's like. And then you have another thing called your adventure rank. This is a very large open world game, which circles back to the joke of it being Legend of Anime Breath of the Waifu. And so as you explore, complete quests, cook things, open treasure chests, beat enemies, pick up flowers, etc. on the ground, you get what's called adventurer experience. And so if you look at the top screen there, my adventure rank is 14. That is important because if I pull up my quests menu here, you'll notice here, this one I can't complete yet. So I can't actually complete this part of the story yet because my adventure rank isn't high enough. I have to be a level 15 for that. So to get to 15, do other quests. So if you're someone who likes side questing more than doing, say, the actual story of a game, you're going to get a crap ton of playthrough out of this. Quests in here are interesting because you have these arc run quests, which as far as I know is like the main story sort of thing. And then you have the story quests, which are like the story of, I think, the characters and such. Your side quests are basically these things called commission quests and world quests. World quests more so than commissions, because when you first get commission quests, you get usually 4 a day to complete, and then that's it. Those are your side quests for the day. And as I was saying, there's adventure rank and there's character. So let's pull up my actual characters. My main character, which is just known as the Traveler, he's a level 9. The second character I got, Amber, is a level 9. Third character, Kaya, is a level 7. And then we have Noelle, who's a level 1, because I just got her from one of the gacha events. And Lisa, who's a level 7. I have not figured out for sure yet if character experience is actually shared across the entire party or not. Because the game doesn't really have a great in-game help system, to be honest, and I haven't spent enough time researching to figure out if that's the case. If it is the case that it's not shared, wow, am I going to have to grind a lot. You can cheat to an extent there, because if you look at the bottom right corner, you see there's that option that says level up, and it's got a red exclamation point there because it wants me to cheat and spend these experience point currency things that you get throughout the game as you do various events. So if you don't want to grind, well, I got 183 of these. I think they're called Traveler's Experiences or whatever. And so I could spend one and she instantly becomes level 4 rather than having to actually grind all the way through. Um, Ascension materials, I don't know how any of that works because I haven't gotten far enough to really get into the whole Ascension process and things. The game explains a little bit of how some of the mechanics work as you play along. Occasionally, as you're battling enemies and things, you'll get little gameplay tips that pop up where on PS4 it'll say hold L1 and push up, which if you notice it hasn't done anything because there's no little tip currently pending. But other than that, there's not really anything to kind of help you along. This book you might think is help. It's not. This is actually what's called the Adventurer's Book. This is something you eventually get that keeps track of, okay, experience through doing various things. Here's my daily commission. Here's some bosses that I guess I can beat up for extra treasure and stuff like that. Other than that, the game kind of just throws you right into it. You get very little guidance to go along. And before I forget, let me get my daily bonuses, because that's very easy to forget. Navigation on this is janky at best sometimes. I like being able to navigate with the D-pad. The problem with that is the D-pad on some menus actually opens up various other sub-menus, so you're primarily doing it with the analog stick. So let's get this Hero's Wit, which, as I mentioned, is one way that you can cheat more or less to level up rather than grinding. You can spend this to get that experience instantly. Now, this character experience is not shared across all your characters. This would be for the individual character that you're leveling up. Again, going back to, I don't know if out in the field, getting the regular character experience is shared across your team or not. I want to say it is, because if we go back to my characters, Lisa for the longest time was a level 4. Now she's suddenly level 7. I don't know how that happened, if that's just from progressing through the actual story, or if it's because I've been using other characters to beat things up enough. As you might notice as I'm scrolling through these, the backgrounds are changing. That's because each character has a different element. Right now my main character is Geo. I'm going to change that back to whatever the wind one is that I already forget what the heck it's actually called. Because, like any old RPG, enemies have elemental resistances and stuff, and various elements, when they mix together, cause various buffs, debuffs, yada yada yada. Trying to keep track of that in this game is really hard. I don't remember how the heck any of them actually work. Let's go ahead and let's actually do one of my daily commissions so we can take a look at hopefully some battling maybe. One thing that is nice about this game, because it is so huge, navigation is relatively easy. This is the world map. This is the rest of the map that I haven't unlocked yet, which scrolls for quite a while and probably scrolls even further. These blank areas, you get the detailed map by talking to one of these things, which are called the Statue of the Seven. Once you worship one of those, or whatever the game's official terminology for it is, the map reveals that specific area. So you don't just simply get the map by exploring. This red line here is where the game will actually stop you from progressing further. There are some areas that you'll go through and it'll give you a little warning at the top, highly dangerous, because the game thinks that the enemies in that area are significantly higher level than the rest of your party. Sometimes you'll get lucky and you'll be able to beat them up just because of again, those weird elemental attributes and stuff where you just have a really good weapon. That being said, one of the main quests that I was doing, my adventure rank was high enough to do it, but when I got to what's called a domain, which is basically the game's version of a dungeon, it says, hey, your party level is lower than recommended. So far, that's happened to every single dungeon I've been in. And for the most part, I've been able to complete them fine. I've only had a character die once, and that was because I accidentally ran off a cliff and died from falling damage. Anyway, let's go ahead, let's grab one of these commissions, start a daily quest, see if I can do some combat here to kind of show you how that works. Let's see, Springvale. Alrighty. We'll go ahead and take this on. So, oh, hey, there's a timer. Well, okay, that's gonna make this interesting. Can I fast travel? Where does this even want me to go? It wants me to go all the way there. Okay. If I fast travel, does it make it null and void? Let's find out. Fast traveling in this game, thank God you get immediately. As soon as you come across a teleport waypoint, you definitely want to touch that and activate it so that you can fast travel. Because otherwise, if you want to run, oof, that's going to take several minutes to get from one end of the map to the other. And when you start off, your stamina is really limited, so you can't run very far. Cool, I can actually fast travel. Alright, that actually doesn't count against me. So that yellow bar that you see there, that's my stamina. And I am going to switch to Kaye. He's got fire, ice, and these guys are fire. And ice and fire somehow. Again, I can't remember how the heck all of the elemental resistance in this game work, because there's just so many of them, so many different buffs and debuffs, and effectively no in-game health. My number one complaint with this game so far hasn't actually been the lack of in-game help or tutorial system. It's when you're doing combat like this. To an extent, the game makes it more realistic in that if you're trying to fight an enemy from behind, and let's say you're behind a tree, well, unlike some other games that might turn that tree transparent for you so you can see what the heck is going on, no. The tree just stays there while you're trying to fight. This is like the worst camera I've seen since Super Mario Sunshine, which was a game for Nintendo GameCube. That's how long it's been since I've seen a camera as bad as in this game. Cool. So I have kind of completed that quest. It wants me to go back to Mondstadt to fully complete it. So let's go ahead and fast travel back to Mondstadt. And complete that. Another minor annoyance with this game is the loading screen right now you'll see is dark. That's because it's night. At daytime, that's a full white background. So if you're playing this late at night, that's a really, really, really bright loading screen. It's like, oh, hello, flashlight mode. Fancy meeting you here. And before you ask, no, that's not a glitch. That guy is intentionally in the fountain there. I thought it was a glitch. It's not. Sweet. Alright, so that's the first of the daily quests. Let's see what else is open on the map to me right now. Which I always zoom the wrong way. Alright, we got some side quests just throughout the whole map. So, let's just kind of run down to Springfield without fast traveling so I can kind of show you what that's like. Did I still not get my dailies? What does this want me to look at? Oh yeah, this event thing. This is a bug, before you ask. Apparently if you scroll through this too quickly, it mixes and matches the various events. That's what it's supposed to look like. So as I mentioned, sometimes this does get a little janky, which, you know, it's free to play. So,
騎士団の仲間たちも今じゃ忙しくて首が回らない。
Let's switch back to me so we don't have any idle chit-chat there. And let's go ahead and run all the way to Springvale instead of fast traveling so you get an idea of how big this world map is. You can level up your stamina. And the way that you do that is if we go back to these statues of the Seven, which I actually do want to quickly do because I want to switch my element back to Wind or Animo. That's apparently Wind. That's what it's called. As you worship the statues, they level up. You get various perks for that. And one of the main perks with that so far has been stamina, which I would strongly recommend you upgrade as quickly as you possibly can. Now, as you might have noticed there, it very briefly said wet. It's because I'm raining, I'm wet. If I run into an enemy whose element is electricity, it's going to hurt me more because, hey, spoilers, electric and rain doesn't mix. So, let's switch my element back to Animo here, now that I've got 2 Geo characters. So, worshipping the statue looks like this. The various regions of the game have these various, in this case, Animo Cliffs, because that's the wind god. I have 2, it needs 8 to level up to level 6, and again, this is how you would raise your stamina. Which, if you don't just fast travel everywhere, you do want to do. Let's pick up some various goodies here, because those will slightly contribute to my adventure end, which again is separate from your character's level. There's like 2 different bits of leveling up here. Ooh, perfect. So that got me a bunch of money, some goodies, and 20 character experience, which again, I still haven't figured out if that's actually shared across my entire party or not. I want to say it's not. Which, if that is the case, again, if you want to grind, you're going to be grinding a lot, or you can cheat and just level them up by spending some goodies. Since there's one right over here, let's actually go touch what's called a ley line. What? Activated a quest? How do I do that? Oh, there's a side quest over here. Cool. Well, let's actually go ahead and do that. Or not, because I have to find what's trying to kill me. There you are. I know you're there. Back out. Oh, you're the one to shoot you and light you on fire. Oh yeah, here's another thing that I didn't realize. If you want to get resources like that iron, apparently you just hit it. Here I thought you had to eventually buy a pickaxe. Again, the game really doesn't have much of an in-game help sort of thing. You kind of just have to figure a lot of it out on your own. Good. Now let's go do this side quest. Yeah, what have you got for me? Well, I probably have like a whole bunch of that already from a previous side quest. Do I really not have any raw meat? Okay, that's what I thought. That was the quest? Wow. Okay, now I feel bad. Anyway, let's go back to this ley line thing that's up here, which is going to tell me that, hey, I need to spend some currency to do. Which is this moon thingy, original resin, which you can spend some pyro gems, which you get from battling enemies, to replenish this, or again, I think you can actually spend money to get pyro gems. And let's actually go ahead and let's pull up the shop here. Again, it's free to play, but it's a gacha game. So you can spend money to get various premium currencies to then, you know, spend on characters and other sorts of goods. In this case, here's a supplies thing, if it'll navigate over there. There we go. Again, the navigation on this is really janky sometimes. I'm not going to buy that because I don't want to spend, let's see, that's 300 of whatever these doobly-doos are, so that would be $5. Let's not do that. Or if you want, you can spend $100 and get 6,480 Genesis crystals. Yeah. That's how they get you with the free. So, let's touch this. All enemies. So if you notice, very briefly it said vaporize. That's because I hit its shield with fire. When the shield, it reacts to fire. And again, those guys are falling down because I'm hitting them on the head. There are a lot of clean blade mechanics with this game for it not having any kind of in-game help whatsoever. You know what?
お前って本当にこれ
That's pretty cool. Good. Notice it says we're level 13. This character is level 7. Weirdly, I'm beating him up relatively easily. That's why the various levels like yellow, green, red, yada yada yada, red. The game thinks you're gonna have a really good time with. Yellow, green is pretty. But it'll still warn you that, hey, this might be bad again. Oh, while we're here, you might have noticed, for a brief amount of time, those leaves went transparent. Otherwise, no, that tree's in your way the whole time you're trying to fight. Other than moving up, down, left, right, zooming in and out, the camera on this is just bad. Really, really bad. This guy actually should swim forward, where somehow fire beats water. I don't know. It does. Somehow.
頼んだわよ。
So there we go. There's a tree in my way as I'm trying to shoot the monster. I get why it does that, because in reality, you know, if you're having a battle in reality, and you're trying to set up a attack on a tree, yeah, yeah. If you're using other RPGs, it'll just get rid of that tree for you, and this doesn't do it. Which can make the camera really annoying sometimes. Where is it? There it is. eventually you'll get this thing, which is called a glider, which is neat. It glides. One thing I do want to point out here, look at the draw distance on this. And I don't know if this is because I have this on the PS4 Pro, but again, this was originally a mobile game. If that's the same draw distance that you would get on mobile, granted, you know, the graphics are nothing super impressive, that's still really good. And there are some areas where I get a lot higher and you can see a lot further out, which really just shows how impressive it is. So, what do I want to do here? I want to get my adventure rank up to 15. Let's go for another side quest. Alright, that's past Springvale. So as I mentioned, you can fast travel almost immediately in this game, which does speed up things a lot. One of the things I would definitely recommend as the map unlocks itself to you and as you're going along, if you see a waypoint, definitely activate it. That tiny little bit all the way in the distance is one of the statues of 7, which again, as you touch those, will expand the map. So if I go way over there, that's what I'm looking at there, which opened up this whole chunk of map to me. This one over here opens up this chunk of map, and that's something that you definitely want to do, because as you're going through quests and stuff, sometimes it'll have you going into the parts of maps that you haven't explored yet. So again, here's a statue of the 7 that I haven't hit yet. I don't get this map simply by walking there. I have to actually get to that statue of the 7 first to get the whole map, which makes it very easy to miss all these different waypoints. There's one that I haven't activated yet, and again, if you're doing a quest and you get distracted and say your quest is all the way over here, but you've run like all the way over to the map here, well, do you really want to fast travel back to there and miss all these possible waypoints and various other things? I haven't, but you do you. That's how it is. But again, this is a huge map, and I'm pretty sure I haven't even remotely gotten any considerable chunk of it unlocked. Which again, for being free to play, very generous map. You can definitely get a lot of playtime out of this, I think. I've only been playing this for a few days, and there's definitely a ton of stuff to do here. That blue floating thing there, that's one of the waypoints that I've activated. If you come across it and it's red, definitely go run up to it and touch it. It's a little deceptive though, because you also have challenges that will also be red, like an inactive waypoint, and they look almost exactly the same. There have been more than a few times that I've gone trying to run after something red, thinking, oh my god, it's a waypoint, finally go activate it. No, it's a challenge, and it's like, well, crap, that's not what I wanted. Let's actually turn on navigation for this side quest, because I've already forgotten where it is. There you are, navigate. Oh, that's way in the distance. Okay. That's a lot farther than I thought. Again, open world map. This is just huge for being free to play. And I didn't see a decent waypoint over there to teleport to, so I'm just going to run to it. Why not? Hey, let's switch to you, pick up some things here, and hopefully get the next game there. As far as different party members go, you get those just from quests, or again, because it is a gacha game, you can roll 4 characters and, hopefully get one. This character, Noelle, is part of sort of a beginner's one, so you spend 8 of the premium currency that the game already gives you. You get a guarantee, so there you go. It's effectively a free character. These guys are all fire, so let's switch back to ice. First, let's heal up some. So, the faces that are under the characters, I don't know what that's all about yet, because I've never fully, I guess, maxed it out. And again, the game really doesn't explain any of that to you. You have to Google it for lack of a better explanation. Again, there's no in-game help. You're kind of just on your own. Occasionally you get some tips, but you kind of only come up with the elemental consistencies and stuff. If you can memorize those, more power to you. I sure as heck can. Fire.
本当にしぶといんだから。
Come on, give me a chance to shoot you, will ya?
本当にしぶといんだから。
There he goes, flying because I hit his weak point. Let's just pick it up from.
頼んだわよ。
Oh yeah, there's also these various achievements that you just randomly unlock. I don't know why. Companionship XP, I have no idea what the heck that is. Is that how I level up the friendship on these? Okay, that's how friendship works. So I guess as you use a specific character more, that levels up. Again, I don't know, because there's no in-game help to explain that. There's a lot of stuff that you just have to look up on your own. Because, yeah, even in the menu, there's not really any help. The Adventurer Handbook is not what you'd think it is. Since I got an achievement here... Oh, I've completed one! Cool! So, these are one of the, like, million currencies that the game has. That's a very easy one to get. Let's get a name card style. What does that mean? Oh, I guess that's how I change the color background on my doobly-doo. Let's see. Okay, so that's how different people got those. That being said, since this is on PS4, it will automatically import all of your PlayStation Network friends into the game. For Sony reasons, the cross-save that you'd have in mobile, where you can go from like iOS to Android, Android to iOS, you can't do that on PS4. You'd have to start from scratch, again, because Sony. But when you do eventually get to cooperative mode, which unlocks, I think, at level 15 adventurer rank, you can set it to be just same console, or you can set it to console and mobile, which I think is in one of the various settings here. Where is that? Is it an account? Or is it an other? So there. That's a setting that you could set if you want. But this kind of works like Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered, where you can be on console and co-op with people on mobile. As I mentioned, it imports your friends from PlayStation Network. If you have played this on mobile, which again I haven't, that might possibly be a disadvantage to you, because this seems to cap out at 45. So I don't know what happens if I were to have enough people on PSN that I'd hit that 45 count. I don't know. Maybe I have to pay to get more, or I have to delete some people. Again, no idea. But, let's see, what else do we have to do here? Did I do that for a quest? I feel like that was a quest. That was a quest. So, let's go do another side quest. Which is way out there, so I'm going to fast travel if I can. Yeah, let's use the statue. There's that super bright loading screen that I mentioned earlier. I wish it was permanently nighttime because that is really, really, really bright. I don't like that loading screen at all. That said, eventually you do get the ability to change the time. So if we pull open the menu, you notice there's this time thing here. You can change the time to make it nighttime, which I guess eventually means different enemies and stuff come out. With how far I am in the game so far, it really hasn't made a difference. But if you're running around, you'll definitely notice that, hey, when nighttime comes around, certain people go indoors because sleep is a thing in the game, I guess. Your character never actually has to sleep, that I've noticed so far. While I'm here, I'm going to use Statue of 7 to actually restore some of my characters, which you do via Statue's Blessing. You can toggle it on and off to have it automatically restore your character, so just standing by them would like restore them, and you can set how much you want that to be, which I did accidentally because, again, I'm used to using the D-pad to navigate with things. Everything is analog stick for the most part on here. Go ahead and restore you some more. And I don't know if the restorative power... Okay, yeah, recharges over time. Duh. It says it right there. So, I guess as you leave the game to be, it does its thing. Because this is technically an MMORPG, you never have to save. You're constantly talking to a server, and it's constantly saving your data. So if I wanted to, I could just quit the game, fire it back up, and it would basically drop me right into here. If you switch the console off, you'll have to wait a little bit while it reconnects you, but again, it usually saves your state. Let's switch to Kaye, because these guys are all fire, so I'm going to use...
この瞬間、お前は永遠の手に。
Came out of nowhere. That's a giant nope right there. Never melt this dude. I don't know why that character gets thrown out as much as it does. I swear the game seems to do that automatically if things are taking enough damage. It's an explosive bunny, which apparently explodes over time and does fire damage. No real in-game help tutorials to really speak of. If they'll give you some hints, but it gives them to you once, and after that you're on your own.
ついてこれるかな？
これ。 となしくしやがって。
Cool. I can get the co-op system now. And as you noticed, it's now giving me a new quest. Because if you were watching this from the beginning, I was talking about how there are different levelings with this game. You've got your adventure rank, then you've got your actual character levels. Now that I'm level 15, more of the story unlocks to me. Oh, so now I can chase after the dude that I saw before. Oh no, now we've got the story bit for Lisa. Neat. And I guess that just randomly unlocked to me too. Cool.
お前もサボることがあるんだな。
But first, let's blow up some boxes. So, this is also like Zelda. In that regard, if you see a box, chances are you can probably hit the box and it'll give you stuff. That thing that you see out there is essentially a dungeon. Those will just become available to you as your adventure rank levels up. This one apparently has two different run-throughs for it. One that is at 25, and then another one at 30, and then 35, and so on. I guess because this is adventure rank 22, I can't touch it and use it as a waypoint. That being said, this one over here is one of those dungeon-y thingies that I've kind of unlocked, and that I can use it as a waypoint, but I can't actually really explore it because I'm not adventure rank 18 yet. It's weird. I don't know why it works like that. Apparently it does.
私を必要とされる限り、いつまでもそばでお仕えいたします。
Have a ingredient processing reward available. I need to find a fire to get that. That's one thing. That's actually something that I like a lot with cooking in this game. Is you can make ingredients. It'll tell you how long it'll take, and it will actually take that amount of time. So when it says that, hey, it's going to take 20 minutes to make sugar, it's actually going to make 20 minutes to make sugar. The good news is you can collect that from any fire in the world. You don't have to go back to the one that you originally were cooking on. It just syncs across all of them. How that works, logic-wise, I don't know. Wi-Fi fire, I guess. Since I was mentioning before that if you see a barrel, you probably want to hit it, be careful when you do that because some of them are explosive. This is level to be a hard fight. Oh, maybe not. Really? Yeah, I could redact with a sword? Again, this character's level right now is 1, and those are 10, and those are 10. Pretty okay. Alright, I'm gonna go for that, because I do need to level her up. When do I get her to level 2? 1000 XP. Okay, that's gonna take me a while. While I'm in the menu, I should probably talk about some of these things here. Constellation, I don't know what this does, because I haven't gotten any of the things over there unlocked. It just randomly became part of the menu that was actually available to me. Talents, don't know how the heck any of those work. I think those unlock through Constellation. Profile is then their actual profile. That would be the character voice in Japanese, the seiyuu. Artifacts are kind of like buffs. Think of them as like accessories in a typical RPG. Um, you have various different artifacts that become parts of sets, and those different sets give you different bonuses. So here, I've been primarily using the Adventurer set because, hey, if you got just 2 artifacts of the Adventurer set, that's a free 1,000 extra HP. That makes a lot of sense to me to have. But as you notice, it's also saying right now I have a 4.2% increase of attack with this character. There, if I swap it out, I could get a 5.2 increase in defense. There's various ones that would give you HP. To enhance, you would select a material, and you would basically merge it with another one of the various artifacts, and eventually levels it up, and it becomes more powerful. Things like that. Weapons are weapons. Again, these have the ability to enhance, which the game never really explains. I don't know if it's because it just simply doesn't, or because I haven't met a quest or other criteria where it would explain it for me. But enhancing there works about the same way, except you also have this upgrade material stuff here, which you can craft by taking those iron ores that you get around the world to the blacksmith. Obviously, these are different, quality. The set of 4 is better than the 2 and the 1, and so on. I don't know why you can possibly... Can I really actually do that? Wow, I could throw in a totally different weapon and it would actually level up this weapon. Okay, well, let's cancel that. So because I have leveled this up to 11, even though my character's level is 1, the base attack is 68, and that seems to have been doing pretty okay. Attributes should probably go through, because if you hit triangle, this brings up all the details, and there are a lot of details. As I mentioned again, the combat system in this is insane as far as how many buffs and debuffs, elemental resistances, etc. Go on. Even though it's telling me I can hit X for attribute info, that doesn't actually seem to actually do anything. My crit rate right now, I have an 8.5% chance of that. Critical damage, apparently a 50% chance of that. Okay, so I guess in the 8.5% chance that I have to deal a critical, the critical is 50% of damage. I don't know. Wait, is this actually going to give me help? Wow, that will actually give me help. Okay, so that's why it says extra attribute info. If it's got a question mark, it'll give you info on it. I don't think I have to worry about that right now. Sure. I don't know what the crap CD is, other than compact disc. I guess cooldown duration, that would be my guess. So here are the various elemental buffs and debuffs for this character. This character is Geo, so 15% Geo resistance. Although it looks like she just has 15% resistance to everything, really. Yeah, there's a lot of attributes and stuff to go through. Stamina is shared across the whole party. I do want to point that out because I wasn't sure if that was the case. It is, because when you're within one region, all the Statue of the Seven in that region all have the same level, so you don't have to constantly run back and forward between various statues to level them up to all be at the same level. I thought that originally. It's not the case. Thank God, because that would be a lot of traveling back and forth to do that. Let's get back to the game here and go back to the side quest here.
助けが必要な方がいるはずです。
All these sparkly things, as you've probably guessed by now, are various things that you can pick up. That's a random squirrel. I random squirrel. that's way over there. I should fast travel to that. I could do that, but I want to see what these blue bits are. Okay, I've already activated that. Up there, those blue things, occasionally you'll find these various pillars out in the world. They'll be different colors. Those are the different elements. Hit them with the different elements, you get a treasure chest. That's how that works. So actually, just because we are so close to a red line, yeah, that's too high to climb. I'd show you what would happen if you try to go past the red line. Oh, hey, that's a fire thing. This was probably a bad idea. This was a bad idea.
Yeah.
As you're first starting off, I would say anything that sparkles you probably want to pick up, because eventually it's going to become material or just something that's good to have on hand in general. Okay, here we go. This is actually good. I mentioned before that inactive waypoints also are red like this. This is a challenge. So from a distance, they look exactly the same as an inactive waypoint, but they're very different. I'm actually going to go ahead and see what this challenge is. Defeat all within 60 seconds. Okay, that's not going to work. Maybe I can do this. Basically, the challenge is bring him. That being said, the treasure chests that you find out there's some common chests, and then there's like a premium chest. Is if you fail a challenge, it doesn't actually ding you or anything like that. I need to get some health back. Come here, Sunsetta. Cool. That's back to where we need it to be. That green bit thing is something that I can't unlock yet because I don't have a key for it. Is that a waypoint all the way down there? That might be the dungeon that I'm seeing. Or that might just be fire. Again, draw distance on this is pretty good. So, overall thoughts, with Genshin Impact. It's pretty good. I've certainly been happy with it, you know, in the various bits that I've gone through. Because it's a gacha game, I'm gonna kind of expect that at some point you're gonna hit a level or something where in order to progress in the game, you're gonna have to either grind substantially or you pay, you know, $5 or whatever, and hey, you can progress all of a sudden. Yay. Clapping. But otherwise, it's pretty solid. It's a huge map. I suspect you can get a lot of playthrough through this. I don't know if there's, you know, plans for DLC or anything like that, but just with the various quests that you have, you know, you have your story quests, which again I think are like the story of actual characters, and then the Archon quests, which is like the actual main story. There's plenty to do. It's solid. It's definitely good. So this one's cool. This might be a bad idea because I've never done an attack from this distance. Okay, it's gonna take as much fun as I thought. That's an explosive barrel. Come here, Amber. Blow that up for me. Another thing I guess I haven't talked about yet. Soundtrack on this ranges from, you know, acceptable and loopy to, wow, that's a pretty solid track. I may actually have to try and look for that on Apple Music. I haven't run into a music track that I didn't like, so I guess that's a good thing. But overall, yeah, because this is a free-to-play game, as far as I know, you got nothing to lose with downloading it, be it on mobile, which it was on originally, or console or PC. I think it's definitely one to check out. One thing I might point out additionally is, even though this might seem like a JRPG, it's not a JRPG. RPG keeps running. So that's what's going on here. Wonder I'm not making any progress. This is technically not a JRPG. this is done by a company called Mihoyo, which is Chinese. So there's that. I don't know if they're like many other companies in China where, you know, they have some sort of backing or from the government. So if you're concerned about that, I can tell you research. But so far, I'd say it's solid. MMO for the most part. Okay, I think that rabbit's getting thrown out because it's the same button as shooting. And I keep getting that would be my guess. That's not actually the button I wanted. I don't know where to get the XP for this.
これで間に合いますね。試合をしよう。はっはっ
For today. Yes, it is. Alright, well, now that I'm adventure rank level 15, let's get my daily commission rewards, my adventure rank rewards, and see what it'll tell me about the co-op. Before I do that, let's teleport over to where there's a fire so I can get that ingredient. Oh, I guess one thing I should talk about is this weird thing. If you see over on the shortcut menu on the left, there's this kind of eye thing, which when you do that, does this. This gets used in a few quests because
私を必要とされる限り、いつまでもそばでお仕えいたします。
various elemental things, but essentially what this does is it shows you the elements of enemies in the area. Cool, I guess. I've never used it other than when it comes up in quests. Ooh, hey, free apple. I'll take that. What's in the chest? Arrow thing. Device that I can hit. Ah, my other sausage is done. Awesome. And as I mentioned before, notice how it says processing time 20 minutes. That really means 20 minutes, not 20 minutes of game time, because as you might have noticed, the day-night cycle in this is relatively quick. No, that's 20 real-world minutes. But thankfully, whatever you start cooking on one fire syncs across to every other fire in the area. So you don't have to return back to the one that you
助けが
started
必要な方がいるはずです。
because otherwise you'd probably have to write that down. I suppose another thing that's worth mentioning are the towns are of a relatively decent size. This is Mondstadt. It's the first town you get to. On the map, it is pretty large, and if you're running through town, yeah, it's going to take you a while to run to places. But really only these places that have an icon on them, like here the Cathedral, the Adventurers Guild. Why this has gotten so jumpy now, I don't know. It's usually not like that. That's a bar, Adventurers Guild, blacksmith, cookery thing. This is a weird shot that I'll show you in a minute because it's kind of a premium currency, but not premium. It's another one of the like 11 billion currencies that this game has. While the town on the map itself is huge and running through it takes a while, only the areas that actually have a little icon on them are buildings that you can go into, which I think is kind of too bad. If you like your RPGs where you can explore and go in like every single building that you see, no, you can't just simply walk into it. In fact, if you try to just walk into it, I'll show you what'll happen. Here, this is the door. You'd think, running into the door would like make it open or something, right? No. We're just going to start climbing it. Because RPG logic. Similarly, in RPG logic, you might notice that right now I can just grab onto literally any wall and climb it. Because I can. Funny enough, when you enter a dungeon, or as they're called in the game, a domain, you can't just simply climb anything and everything in sight, which in the dungeon is nice because it means if you run at a, guardrail, you don't suddenly leap over it to your death. But it's also a little goofy because areas that you would think would be climbable aren't. They just aren't. Again, that's a little weird bit there. Hello, Adventurers Guild. Give him my daily commission rewards. What did I get? This is new. Character Ascension material. I haven't unlocked Descending yet, so I don't know how these work. Apparently it's a drop, or you can purchase it with real money. So these Pyro Gems, it's a special currency in that it's kind of premium, but you get these like really easily kill things, do quests. It hands these out like they're candy. I think you can convert these into other currency. Again, I haven't gotten far enough to really know how that works. All the different currencies in the game, yes, are really Companionship XP, cool. And then more. This is the base currency. And I do like the description of this. Common currency, the one language that everybody speaks. There are some good bits of humor in this game. I will definitely give it that. Now, let's claim my rank. Oh, it's at 16 that I get the co-op system. I like. Okay. So at level 16, you get multiplayer. At 14, you get the daily commissions and dispatch, which I'll show you in a second what that looks like. Yeah, that's how that goes. As you get your adventure rank up, you get rewards and various different gameplay elements get unlocked. I'll also scroll here and show you this bit. If you notice, it goes 25 secret and then 26. I don't know if this is going to be one of the games, or one of the ways that the game gets you to actually pay for it to progress or not. Um, the NPC over the Adventurers Guild just briefly goes over, hey, you know, you do various things, do good, explore, yada yada yada, your adventurer rank goes up. But eventually you'll realize that you can't level up until you do things that are specially recognized by the Adventurers Guild. So, I don't know what that's going to mean so far. Did I not actually claim these? No, I just scrolled it and looked at it. Brilliant Diamond Silver, what's this? More level up stuff. Cool. That's for enhancing weapons, which you can forge pretty easily. Again, there's the character XP that you can spend if you want instead of grinding. At the rate that it gives this out, I guess if you wanted to just level up really quickly, you could. It might also just be because I'm that early on into the game. Again, I don't know. It is a gacha game. It is free to play. It's eventually going to get to a point where the game's going to give you that subtle nudge of, hey, give us real money. We'll let you play more. But so far, that hasn't been a problem. So, expeditions. What you can do with this is there's just various places where you can send your party members out to do these expeditions, and then you get those various rewards. As you notice, there is the ability to change the amount of time that they're out exploring. In this case, 20 hours means 20 real hours that specific character will be unavailable to your party, so, you know, plan wisely, I guess. But here, this expedition, I guess I could apparently send someone out and get 8 to 12 things of meat or 8 to 12 things of fowl. If I look at Louis instead, you could spend 20 hours to get 5,000 mora. Or cooking material. That's how expeditions work. Character I got out on expedition right now, I don't care about too much. I don't know if they'll get any XP from doing this. I kind of hope they do, because I really don't like this character. Their attacks are really, really slow. I don't know. We'll see when I apparently get them back in 27 minutes. Oh yes, I wanted to talk about this place. So, this character uses another weird special currency, which let's go ahead and open up the menu. Where the heck is that? Those real actual materials. These are various books that you pick up. You can read them. Most of them are just text. Think of it as, you know, gameplay, lore, or what have you. Precious items. So, this character's shop here uses these amino sigil things, which you, as it says, you know, get from expeditions or doing various quests. And essentially you can just trade them in for various items. That's Geo Sigil, which I got from which if we pull up the map, these are the two different regions here. That's Louis, or whatever the heck it's pronounced, and then this is Mondstadt.
ここで少し休みましょう。今お茶をご用意します。
Mondstadt, yeah.
え、
let's actually see what she has. Yeah, so various materials you can buy. As you notice, it'll say you can purchase up to X number. That's because shops do have limited inventory. And if I go to an actual shop here... Oh, it's closed. Damn. Alright, where's a shop where